Morning, afternoon, or evening. We're back to talk Arsenal, myself and Judges, and it is a massive game. And I'm not even joking when I say that. I actually do think every game at the Arsenal is massive now because we are so desperate for silverware. We are starving over here. And I want to ask the chat, Lee, and all of you, and everyone listening on catch up, if we should take this seriously, this Carabao Cup. Now, I know that we are definitely in a position at the moment where we're starving of trophies and people are taking the mick that we haven't won any. I think that's all the more reason to win them. But is that enough to have a successful season and say that Mikel Arteta has done his job? We're going to discuss that. We're also going to look at the team news for tonight as well and take a little bit look back to the weekend's game and the injury to Noni Madueke and ask the question, why are we getting so many injuries? Whose fault is it? Is it one individual? Is it a group of people? Is it facilities or is it just bad luck? Are we just cursed? I want to start with that, Lee, if that's all right, because I do think that's a question that is genuinely on people's lips at the moment. You mentioned that he did kind of have a half of a chat about it in a press conference or made a comment about it as well. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Before we do that, people, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I want to get this up to the next target. So please make sure you hit like and subscribe on this one. Big up to everybody that showed their love and appreciation for the fan cam stuff we did outside the ground. Brilliant numbers, unbelievable views, and 500 more subs, which is unbelievable, by the way. So big up to everybody that hit subscribe and like on that one. Lee, injuries. Why?
Listen, everybody gets injuries. Let's get that right. You know what I mean? And I can accept some of the injuries that and you can turn around and say they're unlucky. And I mean, like Odegaard, for instance, unlucky because it's an impact injuries. You're going to get those sort of ones in games. I'd probably even say the Saliba one, like getting injured in the warm up, can happen, but that's incredible, really. If you get injured in a warm up, I suppose you could say that's unlucky as well. But the rest are all sort of a little bit of a worry for me. Hamstring injuries are part and parcel of football. They've always been there, but we seem to be getting them consistently. No one's ever told me. I don't know if anybody can help me out in chat or what was wrong with Ben White. I know one sort of said he just played against Manchester United in the first game of the season after doing all the pre-season. Went down after that Cunha run, when he done him, and a lovely bit of skill when he chased him back. Anyway, haven't seen him since. Comes back for a substitute appearance, and then we don't see him again. So from those ones are the ones that worry me a little bit, more than anything else. Norgard hasn't even played for the club, out for 3 weeks without even playing. Havertz. Let's talk about Noni Madueke and Havertz. Both completed, well, not completed the game, but completed the heart. Never come off injured with their injuries. All right. So when you look at it, Noni Madueke's been out now, they reckon, for probably about 5, 6, 7 weeks, right? So what the hell is he playing on the injury for? If he's out for 3 or 4, 5 weeks minimum. Kai Havertz went through the game against Man United. Come on, do you remember? Come on as a sub, but
that's right.
Didn't get subbed off. Played to the end, and then we hear that he's got an injury. Saliba gets injured in a warm-up, but they feel it's all right for him to continue. And out for 3 weeks. You can even go on with the Martin Odegaard one, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know he ain't going to complete the game. So why are they wasting 5-10 minutes running him around again? Yeah, that happened not once but twice, both games. Had the injury, come off, run back on for another 10 minutes, come off. Done it again in the last game, and we haven't seen him since. So prevention could be a key, but also I look at it and think to myself, something's not quite right.
No.
You know what I mean? How can you look at an ankle injury after you've done it in a warm-up and go, well, yeah, you're all right to carry on, and then 3 weeks later you're still injured? So it's little things like that, and that's not Mikel's fault. you know, you can, you know, I know people can bash Mikel and everything like that. That's down to the medical staff, you know, the people in there, like, you know what I mean, that assess things. Now, you know, I use a physio like Wes, who's a fantastic physio, like used to be at Ipswich. When I go and see him, he'd tell me straight away what's wrong, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I had to have my operation on my knee, he told me exactly what it was, even though I had to have scans. He said, you just have to have scans to confirm it, but that's what I think it is, right? You're going to need an operation. He told me that within one diagnosis. Like, you know, these guys be like top experts, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm looking at it and going, well, get Odegaard off now. He ain't going to be like, he's back on again. And then he's up again. He's back on again. He's off again. You know, that so I don't trust the medical staff to a certain degree, you know. So I look at the Havertz and this is where I blame Arsenal and probably blame Arteta a little bit. I look at the Havertz and Saka one. Both had operations, both rushed back last season, both injured again. Now, obviously, Saka's back, but Havertz isn't. Much more caution if you remember going back to the tour of Asia with Gabriel. Gabriel hardly didn't play, so he was out there. They were doing all the training, but so I think that there was a little bit more caution on that one. So maybe they learnt their lesson a little bit. I don't know. But the continuing, you know, Mikel did turn around and say we've looked into the hamstring injury and everything like that. You know, so hopefully they get this sorted. But this has been going on and on and on. Like, if you have a look at, let's go through the whole team. Forget about Raya. Raya's not so much. Timber unlucky with the knee injury. You have to turn around and say to yourself, well, that happens. Ben White. At long-term injuries, Gabriel long-term injury, Saliba, not really like long-term injuries, but he's had a couple of niggles, so I'm going to leave him.
Niggles, hasn't he? Yeah,
I'll leave him out of it. Calafiori consistently injured. Shinchenko when he was there, always injured. Like, you know, so realistically, the only couple that have not been really down with it is Saliba and Miles Lewis-Skelly from last season. You look into the midfield, Declan Rice has a couple of niggles, but has been okay. Like, you know, Thomas Partey was out for months and months at times. Marino come to the club injured straight away in training. Do you remember done his shoulder in the first session? Odegaard, not to do with Arsenal, but has been injured when he was out for Norway. Norgard come straight in injured. Jesus, loads of injuries. Saka, loads of injuries now. I don't know if I missed that. Havertz, loads of injuries now, long-term injuries. It's every single player I'm mentioning here, like Dan, you know what I mean? So something's not right, or you can't keep saying it's unlucky.
No.
And I don't know if it's about loads of games and all that, because I see Liverpool playing loads of games and don't get a lot of injuries. I see, you know, other teams playing lots of games and not getting injuries. But 5 games and 5 major injuries. Now, you know, Madueke's gone down for ages as well. Like, so when you look at it, right, only Gyökeres is their only signing that's not got injured, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He actually is. He actually is.
Maybe as well, but yeah, but like, you know, so there's always been this myth or thing about the training ground, isn't there? Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
There's got to be something in it, Dan. You know what I mean? You know, the pitch is so heavily watered as well. Like, so the drainage may be so good at the Emirates that by the time you're playing, the ground's a little bit. I don't know. You know, it is a worry, though. It is a worry that every single game you're getting played. Now, listen, impact injuries you can't help. That's part and parcel of football. But prevention of these, and now we've got a squad, I think you can rest a little bit more. Martinelli's another one that's had problems with injuries as well. Trossard was out at the beginning of the season. You know, so it's happening long term all the time.
Well, look, I've put a poll in the chat, right? Because I genuinely want to know what people's opinions are about why we get so many injuries. So the following options are the training facilities, training pitch, training ground, everything to do with our facilities, which I think are top notch, by the way. But I'm hearing the pitch can be a little bit crap. There's always been that rumour. But only 12% of people believe that to be the case. Bad luck, because you can have bad luck with injuries. 19% of people believe that to be the case. The training intensity, so the intensity by the manager and the fitness coaches and the coaching staff, 20%, and 50% believe it is down to Arteta overloading and flogging the players. Now, that's only what people's opinions are. It doesn't mean it's fact. Do you think that has something to do with it? Because I'm going to be honest, I actually do believe that has something to do with it. Because Mikel Arteta, and rightly so, wants to play his best players all the time. But I've seen a number of occasions where I'm asking myself, scratching my head, why the hell is he playing? Why the hell is he still on the pitch? For example, when we go 7-1 up against PSV in the first leg and Gabriel's playing again and then he goes down the next game with a hamstring injury, I'm asking, why did he play in the 7-1 second leg? When we're 3-0 up against Lens, why is Saka still on the pitch? When we're 3-0 up against Preston, why the hell is Saka coming on? When we are playing Bolton in the Carabao Cup, why is Saka starting? Kai Havertz, another one. Timber, another one. Ben White. All of these guys have been overworked and overplayed for quite some time. And it's no coincidence to me that they're the ones that we're worried about that are all coming off the back of grade 3 hamstring tears that require surgery. ACLs now to Jesus again. And of course, to potential scares of Noni Madueke, which of course has now been confirmed that it's not. Thank God, touch wood. There's a lot of training intensity that I think probably does go on. And I'm not saying you should go, dawdle around in training. But at the same time, when you go to Dubai and it's a relaxation holiday and your striker, Kai Havertz, comes off of his hamstring off the bone, probably wasn't too much relaxation going on as far as I'm concerned. So I think that Arteta definitely does have a say in it. Don't think it's just on him, by the way. But I think it needs investigating, judges.
Yeah.
Because if I read this out to you very quickly, this is just in 2025, by the way, right? The attackers at Arsenal that have had injuries are as follows. Gabriel Jesus had 132 days out with an ACL. Gabriel Jesus has now got another ACL and has been out currently for 39 days and counting. Gabriel Martinelli had 30 days out with a hamstring problem. Kai Havertz had 91 days out with a hamstring problem. Bukayo Saka, obviously, on the back of a 27 with a hamstring, had a knock and another ankle injury, another 3 games that he'd missed. A hamstring injury to Trossard for 5 days and a hamstring injury to Martinelli for another 3 days. Groin injuries to Leandro Trossard and now a knee injury to Noni Madueke. That's a lot for 2025 for 9 months of football. I don't think you could say, well, it's not even 9 months because you had the summer out as well. So that is a hell of a lot for your whole front line to go down. So either the training is crap and they're running on concrete, their legs are made of whatsits and their hamstrings made of string, or you've got the manager to look at and go, are they doing too much in training and are you overloading them and giving them, putting too much pressure on them? That's what I'll say, Lee. I don't know if that's right. That's just my question.
Yeah, listen, I think there's evidence to say that you're correct with that because the squad's not been strong enough. There are times, even when Mikel's had to admit it, that Ben White's playing through pain and playing through injuries. So he's admitting it. You know what I mean? Like that and in the end, Ben White's broke down. You know what I mean? Because he was continuing to play so many games, and that was on the back, if you remember rightly, of him not playing for England. Imagine if he was playing for England as well. I think they was quite pleased that he wasn't. So I do agree with that. And there's certain games that you're dead right. We're winning games 6-7-1. Why are the players that you get them off, don't you? This is a time for him to rest because there's going to be times in games, Dan, when these guys can't be rested. Like, i.e., when you're having a semi-final or a big game. But you've got the opportunity when you're 5-0 up, 4-0 up, to do that. Now, I'm not saying that you do that at half time. I'm not saying that you do that you know, like I'm sort of like 60, 70 minutes in, you can make those substitutions. And I totally agree with it. You know, I mean, I think it was at Port Vale last season when he brings Saka on when the game's won. And was it Preston? Sorry.
Yeah.
So you go like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? Like, and listen, you go to those games at times, Dan, like Port Vale today. I'm going there. You don't want to see certain players playing. I know that sounds silly. You want to give them that, you know, complete rest. You know, you don't even probably want them travelling and all that, like, you know. So there is evidence to say that, like, you know, that can. In saying that, though, we've got a big squad now with loads of players where he can do this, and we've still got it not happening. You know, like now. Listen, I look at someone. I'll tell you what, Calafiori is a very, very good point in this, right? Maybe he's learning, because Calafiori's came back from injury. There have been on 3 occasions, I think, this season, maybe more, that after 70 minutes he's come off when it's the danger zone. Like, you know, you go. That's when you pick up knocks, like when you're tired and whatever. Like, you know, he took him off, but like the last couple, he hasn't, because he's obviously feeling now he's built up his minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe he's learned from that there. But even like, you know, Saka, like, you know, a year ago, Dan I think would have played in that game against Man City, but we've felt that we're in a position where we don't have to play him, like, you know. So I think that's maybe slight times that we're learning a little bit, like, you know. As I said, you know, the Jesus one, I don't blame training on that. That was if you remember, it was an impact against Man United, got injured in there. But you're right about the Kai Havertz one, by the way. When you go to a warm weather training session in Dubai, when it really is all right, you're not out there for a jolly up, but you're not also out there to go mad. You just come on the back of a busy. And if you have a look at our December and January fixtures, on the back of they've done that on the back of. A long, hard January and December, and also on the back of losing to Man United. That's why they was out there, like, you know, like, can we get that straight as well? It wasn't, you know, like they'd lost to Man United, so they would have had a game if not. So two ways you look at that. You go, right, we're going to go away because you've gone out against Man United, we're going to run you. I could say that, but listen, you're not going to do that. You're just going to turn around and go, right, okay, go out there and have not a rest up, but you know what I mean. It's nice bit of warmth, so a little few light sessions and a bit of sun on our backs just to recuperate a little bit. So what the hell is that all about? You know what I mean? To you know, me and you could. It's harder for us to pull a hamstring than them, right? Because they're that more toned and whatever, like. But if you're walking and jogging, you can't pull a hamstring. The only way you can pull a hamstring is if you're running at speed. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a look at it, you know, no one gets a hamstring. Yeah. No one gets a hamstring jogging about, like, you know what I mean? So it is when it's that explosive run. So they're doing explosive runs out there for him to do that, like, you know. So I find that an unbelievable injury. Could that have been prevented, Dan? Hell yes, that one definitely could have been prevented, that one, like, you know. The one with Gabriel, you're right on that, like, you know what I mean? Could have been rested for the game against PSV, and then all of a sudden, like, the next week, what was it, 10, 15 minutes in the next game, he's down and out for the whole season, like, you know. And it's not just a hamstring injury. Like, I know that Saka's had a little hamstring injury this time, like, but these 3 hamstrings were that severe that they've had to be
operated on,
like, you know. So, and listen, it happens to, like, you know, I look at the Chelsea fella, Delap, you know, played all in America, didn't he? Like, you know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. Go sprinting in the first couple of minutes and is out for a few months. Why? Because he's probably been overplayed in quick succession. So there is that in that with the hamstrings. I have to say that, like, you know, so that's something which he did mention and said that he's got to look at. And listen, I'll tell you one thing I will say, Dan, right? One of the things, we went into an open training session in Singapore. And I couldn't believe how long they actually work on stretching. It's got to be 45 minutes before they do a training session, Dan.
Wow.
45 minutes, you know what I mean? Like back in the old day, a few little stretches and out you go. Like, but they intensely do stretching. So the preparation's proper. I can't, you know, turn around and say that it's not. But maybe they're overdoing all this sort of stuff. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you never heard of all these injuries back in the day when they weren't as, you know, the old players will turn around and say, I'm out of order, saying they weren't athletes. They were athletes. But I'd have to say now that professional football is an elite athlete now, and as far as, you know, muscle stuff and everything like that. I don't know. But I do think that you're right. There's evidence, and that's something that they've got to look at, like, you know.
100%. Totally agree. Let's take these super chats before we move. Richard says Arteta is to blame. Remember when he pushed Partey back on the pitch, kept Timber on, played Saka against Bolton, and Preston. Saka will start tonight. Richard also comes in and says it'd be very interesting to see the distance covered stats in game for our players. Calafiori, Saka, Martinelli, Rice. They must be doing marathons. Here's a little trivia for you. Big up to Richard, by the way. Absolute legend for the super chats. Who's had the most shots for Arsenal this season?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is. I bet you won't get it.
I'm gonna shots. Calafiori.
Yeah, it is. Who's had the most assists for Arsenal this season?
No, it's not Calafiori again, is it?
Calafiori. So
really?
my point is, we're struggling, right? When your left back is having the most assists and the most shots, there's an issue, right? So I do feel like there's huge problems with this Mikel Arteta side because of the manager now, Lee. I've got to be honest with you. We spoke about it last show, and I want to move on to this game tonight before we start talking about the weekend. How serious are we taking the Carabao Cup, Lee?
Serious. I think you got to take it serious. No, like I think that you know, like Liverpool made loads of changes yesterday, but you know, you could see it was still serious. I think Manchester City make loads of changes today will be serious. Tottenham will take it serious, but they will make changes today. It will be interesting what they do if we was to play I don't know what, you know, we've got to look at the draw later on today, see what happens, and you know, go from there. But I think that Arsenal will take this serious, but using the squad. Now, at the end of it, I think there's a little bit of pressure on this game. I talked about this yesterday, because there is this chat around, you know, like the disciples of Mikel and the cults of Mikel, like, you know, right, that perhaps we're not the favourites to win the league because we've not got the best 11, but we've got the best squad, right? And I think everybody turns around and says, like, you know, so we've got the best squad. So if you've got the best squads, you should go well in the Carabao Cup, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of teams will play second-string teams along the way. And our second-string team is as good as anybody's first in certain things. If you want to put it down, if everybody's fit, then that's what I'm saying. Like, if everybody's fit, we're in a big we've got a big squad. So there, you know, I expect us to go deep in this competition with the squad. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to win, because at the end of the day, you can go and pick up one of the teams next week, Liverpool away or Man United away, Man City away. But in saying that, if you were to play Manchester United away or at home, or Liverpool at home, or even away, if you look at and they play the same teams that they played last night and whatever, like that philosophy, like, yeah, we've got a bigger and better squad. You know, like, so we should, you know, look at the drop off in their central defenders, Liverpool, to what we've got. You know what I mean? They play Gomez. You know what I mean? If anything happens to Van Dijk, Liverpool are in trouble. I'll tell you that now. They are in trouble. Anyone happens to their two central defenders. But for us, you know, our two central defenders that we play tonight, I know one of them's injured, but if we were to, we'd be like, bloody hell. They could play in the first team. Well, even so much so, we're playing against Man City, and there's a discussion whether Saliba should play or not. So that just shows you how, you know, if Van Dijk's out for 4 games and he's coming back against Man City, right, and it's out of him and Gomez, I know there ain't no discussion then. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, you know, and you can say that about our midfield. Norgard, you know what I mean, is coming, decent international player today, you know what I mean? Like, so our midfield today, I would imagine, would be Norgard, Marino, and Wanyeri. Right? That's that. Come on, like, you know what I mean? Spanish international, Danish international, and an under-21 international. A lot of teams would like that midfield, Dan, in the thing. We're playing that in a cup competition. You can go up front, right? If everybody's fit, you'd probably go Havertz, Martinelli, and Madueke, like, you know what I mean? Like, whoa. Hold on a minute, you know what I mean? That's an England international, and a Brazilian international, and a Swedish and a German international that are in that, like, you know. So I've named 6 players there. 5 are internationals and 1 potentially. Then you go to the back. Ben White's has played for England. Lewis-Skelly is currently England's left back, right? 2 central defenders play for Ecuador and Spain under 21s, and a Spanish international goalkeeper has played, like, you know. There's not a weakness there, Dan. Someone said to me yesterday, I was talking to someone. Who was I talking to yesterday? I was talking to Adrian, like, you know, big up Adrian if he's listening and all that. He's going through a bit of a rough time. Big up, going through a rough time at the moment, like. And we was having a chat on the phone, like, you know. And you name a weakness in the Arsenal team.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I'm struggling. I said I'm struggling with where we're weak.
You name a weakness in the squad. Name a weak player in the squad.
It's tough. It's tough to name a weak player.
So where's the weakness?
I think the manager.
Why? If you can't find a weakness and I can't find a weakness, I'll tell you what the weakness is.
The manager.
There is a weakness. Mentality. That's the weakness. There's your weakness there. Mentality. From the manager and what he brings that on, like, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't see a weakness in that team. I don't see a weakness in that squad to turn around and go, do you know what? We're playing at home against Man City. I need to go defensive or I need to be cautious.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a weakness. I can see it if you were, for instance, if your goalkeeper's in, like, well, we've all played football. Your main goalkeeper's out, right? Okay, we've got to protect that, make sure that we protect the goalkeeper, protect that, whatever, like, so-and-so's not playing, protect this, protect that. We ain't got nothing to protect. I don't see a weakness in our squad. I don't see a weakness in our team, but I see weakness in the manager and the mentality of it all. And that was proved at Liverpool, and that was proved, and it was cemented against Manchester City home. And now I hear people trying to defend Mikel, saying, "Oh, like, you know, Manchester City. Look how defensive Pep was. Look how defensive he was. He wasn't defensive in the first 10 minutes. He went 1-0 up. Right? He was defensive afterwards because he's 1-0 up away from home, and he was defensive after half time because, you know what, we put attacking players on. Why don't we do that in the first place and forced him to be defensive in the first place?" And I'll tell you this, you know what I mean, why I think this as well, Dan, and why I'm fuming about it. I've watched Man City 3 times this season. Once we're in the pub, do you remember we watched the Man City Spurs game? How good were Man City that day? Right? I watched them against Man United, and I thought, well, Man United are poor, but they still, you know, I said, well, we're still beat Man City. I watched them against Brighton, only the highlights, and I said, look a bit, you know, last 20 minutes we run all over these. All right. On top of that, you know, that they played on the Thursday, right? Forget about all that crap last season, because last season we went to Atlanta on a Thursday night and then played them on a Sunday. Like, no one mentioned that, so I'll get, you know what I mean. Like, so we get on with that. And so I've watched those 3 games. Nothing to be feared of. We're winning against. We beat Man City. It was only when the team come out that I thought that we wouldn't. And that is the mentality. That's the weakness Arsenal got at this moment in time. That's the only weakness we got, mentality. And that starts from the manager.
I agree.
No weaknesses.
We've got a weakness with mentality, and I think the manager, you're absolutely spot on. You know my thoughts on the manager, Lee, and we'll come to the Newcastle game, I'm sure, later in the week. But for me, we go with that midfield and we draw the game, and I think the white flag's coming out for me to get rid of him. But that's another story. We'll wait till we get there.
Oh, okay. What happens today, right? Say if the unthinkable happens today, and Arsenal lose today, what is your reaction? How are you going to feel tonight? Are you going to be, it's only the League Cup? Because
I think I'm going to say he's getting till May, whatever, Mikel Arteta, because he's not going to get sacked in the middle of the year. However, if we go out to Port Vale in the Carabao Cup, then he's got to go and win the FA Cup or the Champions League, because we ain't winning the league.
Because I look at this, right? Simple. Do you remember 2 seasons ago we played West Ham, lost to West Ham?
Yeah.
I come out of the ground. Well, it's not the end of the world. I'm not bothered. But I did say after that, I'm never having that again. I'm not in that position no more where I'm going to go, I'm accepting, like, it's not that big a competition, like, blah, blah, blah. And like last season, we got to the semi-final.
Oh, you're talking about the Carabao Cup, sorry. Yeah. Right, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm going up to Port Vale, you know, going up there later today. I expect Arsenal to win and win convincingly. Nothing else.
What are you going to think then if we go out? What are you, answer your own question then? What are you going to think then if we go out?
I'll be furious.
Yeah, so will I.
Even though it's only the Carabao Cup, I'll be furious.
I mean, look, I think he's got to go all out to win this competition. I think he's got to go all out to win the FA Cup. I don't think we can be dumping these cups in the bin. And the other thing I've said is, we've made a good point already about the squad not having a weakness. We shouldn't be going out then, because it ain't the squad that's lost him the game, it's him. So if he can't beat Port Vale with his squad, then it's him, not the squad of crap. Because we've just said the squad's good, it ain't got a weakness. So it's down to one man now, and this is where the cults, or whatever you call them, what did you call them? The Arteta disciples. This is where
he says what he likes. Listen, he says what he likes, like, and I don't mean that to be having a dig at fans or whatever like that. How I mean,
well, it's true though. It is true.
He'll come out right and say, "Oh, we played better against Man City this time around, even though we drew 1-1 instead of 5-1," and they believe that. Right, you know what I mean? Like you know, like they believe what he says. You know what I mean? Like they believe everything that he says. You know what I mean? Like, and this is nothing wrong with that. If you want to be like that with Mikel, I get it. I'm not. You know what I mean? He's not pulling the wool over my eyes.
But what I'm getting at quickly is the disciples, as you called them, right? The cults or whatever. I agree with you. I think they do exist. They are in a bit of a pickle. Because we've got a brilliant squad now. So there's only one man that can decide if we win or not. And they know at the end of the season, come May, if he doesn't, they're going to have to get their hero and their messiah out the door. And they ain't going to want to do that. They ain't going to want to. They're kicking and screaming. whilst they accept he's got to go. So we've got to win these trophies, mate. I'm sorry, but I don't think we can be in a position where anybody can tell me, there's Carabao Cup in it. No, it ain't the fucking Carabao Cup, is it? Because I grew up on winning that trophy, and so did I. Watch Paul Merson, Ian Wright, Tony Adams, George Graham. They weren't going, oh, Dusty, don't even give it to us. Oh, don't want to lift that, thank you. We'll go down the pub. They were all accepting it and going, wow, we've just won a trophy. Same as the, 94 when we won a trophy. Same as doubles that we won in 98. Same as going invincible. This was all part of the Arsenal history. And then people were always saying, energy drink cup, it's the crap cup, it's the milk cup. No one bloody wants it. Oh, what we're playing it for? Oh, Port Vale, I don't really care if we go out to that. I feel I do. I actually do. I care about it big time because we are starving over here. Don't let Chelsea win 2 more trophies. Otherwise, we are the 4th biggest club in England by trophies. Do not let them win 2 trophies before us because we will go back down to 4th. Yeah. I want to be going up towards Liverpool and Man United, not, let's get dragged with Chelsea and City, let them overtake us. I'm sick and tired of this trophy malarkey, Lee. Trophies are what we are trying to win. We are not all in here for a laugh to try and see how many, kick-ups someone can do or how much we win the dogs losing weight and all this crap. I don't give a shit about all this about the club. I want to go and win football matches and win trophies. And enough PR crap, enough merch, enough happy birthday to so-and-so on Twitter, enough we've lost the game. Oh, well, on this day, though, we signed Per Mertesacker. I don't give a shit about all that. I want to go and lift trophies in May or in March in the Carabao Cup, and that starts tonight. And I'm sick of all this crap that we keep hearing. Oh, I thought we were much better than when we beat them 5-1. Liar, absolute arrogant fucker to sit there and say that and expect the fans are going to go, I actually agree with that. I thought we were much better. Much rather watch that performance than the one we won 5-1 against. I hope we play like that next week. Because if we do play like that next week, we are out of the title race, mate. Because we will draw to Newcastle or lose if we play like that. And if I see Marino in midfield and Trossard on the left or Eze dropped, unfortunately, I'm going to sit there and say, get your P45, Mikel, because you are not good enough, mate. You are not good enough. You haven't got the mentality and you haven't got the elite mentality and you haven't got the bollocks to go and have a go at them and go and have a go at teams. We have had the £70 million spent on a creative midfielder and we haven't played him in the 2 most important games of the season at Liverpool and City. And that is on him, judges. That is on him. I don't care what anyone tells me. When that team news comes out, I'm going to be pissed, bruv, if I see this again.
100%. And listen, I find it very insulting that, even yesterday in his press conference, he's laughing about it. Going, I might put the handbrake off and all that sort of stuff. I don't find it very funny when I'm paying all that money that I do to watch that game of football, and see my team, not really go for it. Travel all the way up to Liverpool and not really go for it. And at the end of the day, if we lose to Newcastle on Sunday, we're not winning the league. But what I want to see is Arsenal playing. So I want to be in. If we're not going to win the league, at least I want to be entertained. Not being entertained at the moment. Then that wasn't an entertaining game on Sunday. It weren't a great game of football. It was a very tactical, very, very, very good quality. There's a lot of quality out there. I watched the Man United Chelsea game and there's nowhere near as much quality as what we see in the game as far as players and whatever. But it was, a bit of a dull spectacle. If you look back at the best 3 teams in the league are Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. We played Liverpool, ain't won a great game and now this one. And the reason is because both teams have set up slightly defensive sort of things. Liverpool were a little bit more adventurous, weren't fantastically adventurous, but what he didn't do was he didn't say, Arsenal come to town, we're going to play 3 central holding midfield players or whatever. He still kept his attacking players on. He didn't leave out Salah and say, look, I'm playing. He was there, So was Ekitike was there. Gakpo was there. His 3 main strikers, because Isak wasn't signed by then, right? Yeah, were on the pitch. You can't say that about us against Manchester City. They weren't. So I agree with you. I find it very. But let's see, Dan, when he says all this, there's people that believe that. There's people that will believe that, that.
There's a section, not just a few people. There's a section that are like, totally agree with that. What you said there, spot on. And they,
I've looked back at the game. I've looked back at the game.
I've watched it again. Yeah,
Mikel was right. Did you see how defensive that Pep was? Someone turned around and said, do you get a trophy for Manchester City playing with no strikers at the end of the thing? Like, you know what I mean? Can we get this right? That Manchester City wouldn't have done that when they had all the players 3 or 4 years ago. The reason that they don't do that now, because he ain't stupid. They're not as good as what they were 3 or 4 years ago. And I'll tell you this now, Dan. When Manchester City were better than us, did ever Pep turn around and go, I'm going to go defensive against Arsenal? Never once. 5-1, 4-1. Thank you very much. We're the better team. I'll show you. We are a better team than Manchester City at this moment in time. There's Liverpool and Arsenal, not too much between it. And then there's a little gap between us two and City. And we didn't, we didn't nail that advantage in any shape or form. And when people try and I'll say the disciples and the culties, they turn around and try to defend that stance against poor opposition. No way. And even Robbie tried to justify it and saying, "Oh, that Spurs played it with 3 in midfield against them."
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
I said that was away from home for a start.
I can't believe what he's talking about. I love Robbie.
I don't know why people want to justify it, at the end of the day.
I work for Tottenham. Yeah, we are better than Tottenham and we are better than Man City. Why are we trying to look and get tips off of Tottenham Hotspur, who have got a new manager in transition that are fighting for the top 6? We are going all out to beat Manchester City. And we set up like that and we're trying to justify it. Well, it weren't for Tottenham, but we ain't Tottenham. Tottenham have got crapper players than us. Yeah? Let's just have it right. I'm sick of these people that every time, we could anything that he does and it's questionable, you have to fight back. It's like they treat him like he's their little nephew or something, Arteta. Do you know what I mean? And like the stupid comments he makes, so maybe I'll take the handbrake off, and all the journalists all cracking up laughing at him. No, it's not funny, is it? Because you won't take the handbrake off.
It ain't funny to me. Well, I've sat through first half of crap. Right, you know what I mean? And not for the first time we've sat there at the Emirates watching boring football in the first half. You know what I mean? I'm not having that. You know what I mean? Listen, Arsenal fans pay big money. And then you see, I'm sorry, Arsenal, we've gone through hell and back. I know people will laugh at that, but we have to a certain degree, where we were one of the best teams in the country, gone to the Emirates, selling players, blah, 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 blah. Right? He hasn't had to do that, Arteta. He hasn't had to sell his best player every season. He's been allowed to build on it and everything like that, right? For big signings to come to our football club and excite over 10 years or 20 years of spending big money and whatever. And when those big players are there, right, in a big game, he chooses not to play them. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Shocking. Look, let's move to tonight. I'm going to put up what I think he's going to go with. Let me know if you think this is the team that he's going to go with. Big up to Jenny in the chat. She's asked what team do you want to see versus what's good enough for tonight. I'll put the team I think he's going to go with. It could be wrong. I'll let you decide. But this is what I think he's going to go with. This isn't what I do. This is what I think the team will be. And I want you to let me know what your thoughts are. I think he's going to go with Kepa in goal. I think he's going to go right back with Ben White if he's fit. Otherwise, of course, it'll be Timber. I think it'll be Mosquera and Gabriel because obviously Nkapie is out. Lewis-Skelly, I think, will be at left back. In midfield, Norgard, Marino and Juan Arias, who you went with, and I agree with that. Saka's definitely playing because Madueke's out, and he played against Preston and Bolton and God knows what last year, so he's going to play him. And then I think it'll be Eze and Martinelli. It could be Gyökeres or Trossard, but I think Eze and Martinelli are probably the two that he'd go with. What are you saying, Lee? And get involved in the chat as well.
Yeah, listen, I think that the central defence would be interesting, like, right? I'm going to go for Saliba. I'm going for Saliba there, like, you know, because Saliba has only played one game, looked a little bit not rusty, he just needs to get a little bit sharper. So I'd start Saliba in this
instead
game.
of who?
Instead of Gabriel.
Oh, okay.
Right, like, you know what I mean? And Mascara playing. I think he can play left and can play right. I don't buy into that myth of you've got to be left-sided to play on the left side of a defence. So I'd like to see that. Also, I think Gabriel's played quite a lot of minutes, you know, and I just give him the rest that he needs for this one. That's what I'll do. Otherwise, I agree with you on everything there. Saka will play, I would reckon, about 60 minutes, and then Max Down will come on. I think that's pre-planned. There will be plans for certain players in this game, like maybe Ben White getting 60 minutes, then Timber coming on, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe I don't know, the squad. Maybe one of the youngsters coming on, maybe Josh Nichols. I don't know if he's involved or whatever in the squad or something like that. I don't know. In midfield, I reckon Norgard will play about 60, 70 minutes and then he'll come off, maybe bringing on Zubamendi or somebody like that, just to shore that up there. That's what I see, Dan, really, like, you know what I mean? Up front, I want to see Martinelli up front. I want to see Martinelli up top, see what he's like. Who do I play? Trossard or... Oh, sorry. Let's go for it. Let's have Eze on the left as well then. You're like, yeah.
I mean, that's what I think he will go with. It might be a couple of players. This won't be right because I never get it right. Apart from the other night against Bilbao, it's the only time I ever got a Mikel Arteta team right. But for me, I think that will be close to that. What I would do is actually very different. I put it on a tactics board because I would play Dauman from the start. I would. I don't want to see Saka.
Right, go on then. You don't want to see Saka at all?
I don't want to see Saka now. I don't want to see him from the start. So I've gone Kepa, White, Mosquera, Calafiori because I don't want the Gabriel playing, Lewis-Skelly. Norgard, Wanyeri, and Eze. So I play two attacking midfielders. Why are we playing, two holding midfielders? Trossard I'd play on the left so that Martinelli can go through the middle, and I'd have Dauman on the right. Rest Saka, rest Gyökeres. Obviously, Madueke's out. Zubamendi and Rice, rest them. Marino, I just don't want to see him, if I'm honest. And that's the team I'd go with, Lee.
Well, I know you're saying if you don't see Marino now, I might see him at Newcastle.
I've accepted we're going to see him at Newcastle, bruv, which is why.
I don't mean that nastily to him because I don't. I think he's a decent player, but I don't want to see him in that midfield three. But I fear that you will. I fear that you will.
The only thing that we could do here is you could put Martinelli left and have Gyökeres through the middle if you want to give Gyökeres some goals.
Well, the other thing that I was thinking is that you play Martinelli on the left and Marino up top.
Right. I mean, I personally do think that Marino is our best backup striker. I don't want Marino in midfield. I really don't. Jenny says we can dream, Dan. He's never putting that team out. I agree. He's definitely not putting this team out. That's what I'd go with, not bloody Mikel. He's never.
Yeah, is there a case to play Gyökeres in this game?
Yes, I think he needs goals. I think he needs service and confidence. Yeah. I think that's what he's going to get.
And I feel that it wouldn't be a bad thing to play him today. And I'll be honest with you. People that go, oh, well, I think it's nothing about confidence. It's nothing about goals. I just think it's getting used to him playing. I'd say, right, today is the day, like, let's just try and feed him. Because if, for instance, Dan, right, you can play those passes today, those balls that Mikel don't like. We're talking about this. He don't play no risk going up front. There's no risky balls up front, like, but he'll play risky balls all round the back and all that. But he won't do it up top. But anyway, the chances are we've got much better chance of getting the ball back off of a team like Port Vale than we have a top team. You know what I mean? So maybe it's a chance to play him up there. I wouldn't be against seeing Gyökeres out there. I wouldn't be, because I want to see him be succeed. But I don't think he will play today.
No. I don't think he will play today, if I'm honest. David says, I pay good money. I'm done now. Time to go. Well, listen, there's a lot of people that will be like that at the weekend, Lee, if we don't take 3 points to Newcastle. And I was going to touch on it later in the week, but just quickly, do you think that... I think we'll win tonight, and we'll get your score predictions in a minute and the predictions of that before we close. I think this one at the weekend is so key. It's a place we've not really gone to and done well. We've definitely got some revenge for a number of reasons. We lost 1-0 a couple of years ago where the ball went out and it weren't, and then it was offside and then it weren't, and then it was a foul and then it weren't. Lost 1-0 there. I can't remember the last time we won at St James's. It's been a couple of seasons. Obviously, the Carabao Cup game was a disgrace. So I think we have to. This is not a Newcastle side to be scared of. I don't think they've looked very good. In fact, they haven't really been scoring goals, if I'm honest, since Isak's gone. But then I'm not confident going into it. Why is that? Why am I not confident going into this game? Because I don't feel like the manager's got it to go all out. Now, I'm absolutely certain we'll beat Port Vale later, whether it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-4s or 5s. I do think we will. But I'm not confident we'll beat Newcastle. And Newcastle ain't that good. And if we do see Newcastle and Arsenal draw, Liverpool go away to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park without Ekatike, by the way. What a clown he was last night, scoring and taking his shirt off and getting sent off.
Unreal.
Absolute idiot. What an idiot. And there's not a good ground for them. That's a bogey team for them. They haven't got the confidence. Crystal Palace at the moment are a team that have not lost since April. They have beaten them already in the Community Shield. They are unbeaten in the league as we speak. They are the only ones alongside Liverpool. So this is a massive game for them at the weekend. But I don't have the confidence in Arsenal because people go, "Oh, Liverpool, Palace, what do you think?" I don't look at Liverpool at the moment. I look at Arsenal. And that's why I've not got the faith. Because people will say to me, Liverpool don't look that great, do they? They've brought some points, haven't they? Yeah, so are we. We're going to as well. Because it could be 7 points, yeah? Let's say we draw, they win. 7 points behind Liverpool in game week 5 or 6. We're not dropping no more points. And they will drop 7 points. But Arsenal will definitely drop more than 7 points again now. So I think this could be a massive weekend for Arsenal's title race. I think it's a statement to go there. It's probably the last game of the first 6 games that you look at and go, tough. We get out of this and we go, right, we've only lost to Liverpool. We ain't lost in other games. We've got out of that first 6. Let's go now. Let's go on a run. Because we shouldn't be worried about West Ham and Fulham and Palace and Bournemouth and Brighton and Everton and Wolves. We shouldn't be worried about those games. They should be 3 points wrapped up. Yeah? So we need to get past this weekend. And I think this is the last stumbling block, bruv, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's a massive game, and I think Max said it in the chat there. I was just reading through the chat, just saying that for one thing, Newcastle are a very, very good side, but they're lacking goals, they're lacking firepower, they're lacking a little bit of confidence in their final third. So, why go so defensive against them, like if they're lacking goals? But it depends. Dan, I'll go up there. As soon as I see this, it seems it will tell me everything I need to know. Like, you know what I mean, and what sort of game you're going to get and what sort of thing you're going to get for it. And what you're going to get is a similar sort of performance to what I see at Bilbao. And if you get the win, you get the win. But in the league, it's a little bit different. Like, listen, a point would be a good point under normal circumstances. A point would have been a very, very good point if you'd beat Man City last week. You know what I mean? That's as simple as that. Like, win your own games, get points against the big teams, and it's not an easy place to go. One thing I will say about that game, I watched the Barcelona-Newcastle game. Barcelona never changed their style. By the way, they had players out as well, but they still continued to play their franchise of football, if you like. Let's not panic. Let's still play our play. There was a times when Newcastle were in top, but they trusted the players that they had out there. They trusted in their attackers to defend and ride it. And then they got on the ball, started playing, and there was only one team that was going to win that game. That's what Arsenal have got to do. Go up there, flex their muscles. I don't think that they will. You know what I mean? They play what their defensive side of it and all that, and hope to nick something. And that's what they're doing. I think that you know, like that game's written all over it. If Arsenal were to win that game 1-0, they get a free kick or a corner, and then, you know, hope that Newcastle won't break us down. It ain't going to be a great game. Can Arsenal go there and win? Yes. Can they? Of course they can. Can they go there and lose? Of course they can. Can they go there and draw? Of course they can. You just don't know what you're going to get with this Arsenal team. But I know what you're going to get, a defensive game from it, like, you know. And I think that you're dead right. If you don't see Mourinho today, you'll see him in Newcastle, guys. You know what I mean? Simple as that. Like, and you'll see Zubimendi.
Well, we're seeing him in Newcastle. That's a given for me. I think it's a thing. Let me ask this. This is a great comment, by the way. You got to be honest, Lee. All right, you got to be honest with this comment.
Go on.
You're still going to walk out if it's that midfield three.
I said that, and I will. Like, yeah, well, you said it. But I know that I will be like, you know what I mean? So I won't watch it. I'll go down I'll go down and sit there until he changes it, like, you know what I mean? So no, like I'll be massively disappointed if that happens, like, you know what I mean? So you know what I mean? It'd be hard to, like, listen, if we was at home, right, I'd definitely do it because I can go home. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I see that midfield on a home game again, I could easily walk out and go home and go, right, do you know what? I'm not having it because I can get home. But it's such a long journey to go up there and not see it.
Let's go and sit in a pub and watch it. That's all.
Yeah, I'll go and sit in the concourse. I'll sit in the bar area and not watch it. I won't support that. I will not support that no more. I understand it a little bit on a way, like in Europe. I get it in Europe. When people go to me, why are you so adamant? Because you don't have to win in Europe, right? You get a 0-0 draw away and then you beat them at home. You know, do you know what I'm saying, Dan? Like, you know, that's how you get through in competition. You did that. That is how you win games in Europe. It's not how you win leagues in England. There's a difference. You know, getting brave there, like, you know what I mean? Like, already backtracking, shitbag. That's nice, isn't it? They're actually calling me that.
Who's done that?
Oh, Dave, you know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm not backing down on it. I've said I might do it, might not. Like, you know what I mean?
Backtracking.
Let's see if he plays that team first. I'm not backtracking. I've said it now. Like, I'll say it again. In Europe, I ain't got a problem with it. At home in a Premier League game against any team, I've got a problem with it. And a team like Newcastle that are struggling for goals, have lost their striker. And I can tell you are very, very down about that, players and everything, like, because they, you know, it was a bit of a letdown for them. They're not as potent as what they were last season. Like, you know, we lost to them last season, Dan, right? In the league. And also the League Cup semi-final up there. Who scored in the league game?
Oh, that's a question. I can't even remember now who it was.
I think it was Isaac from an header.
Oh, right? Yeah, it was. Anthony Gordon crossed it to him. Yeah, I remember that.
Scored in the semi-final as well, both legs. Yeah. He's not there no more. Right? So we don't have to put our nappies on and worry about our defensive shield. We have to just properly do our defend properly, and we get goals. So you know, like, Anthony Gordon is available for that game, by the way. I think he's back to. I think his last game of his ban is tonight. Is it?
So yeah, this is where me and you disagree. I'm not a fan. You like him, don't you? I'm not a fan of him. I don't get what he does, Anthony Gordon. I think he just runs, and I don't see.
I like him. Yeah, I know. That's what football's about. It's about opinions, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? So You know,
I don't think he's a scrub, by the way. I think he's a good player, but I don't look at this like, wow, I wouldn't pay 90 million for him. I wouldn't go near that. I wouldn't even pay half of that. I think he's like £35 million winger. That's what I think.
yeah. Like, you know, they've got Alanga. They'll probably play Alanga.
Probably still starting for us, by the way, but
Yeah, in that game, it wouldn't surprise me. I'll tell you what, like, you know, they played it against. He'll play what? He'll play. Harvey Barnes probably on the left, Alanga on the right, and he'll probably play Anthony Gordon down the middle, right? You know what I mean? Like, come on, can't our back four handle that?
Well,
but he'll look at it. Do you know what? He'll look at it and go, "Oh, they've got Bruno, and they've got the power they've got in midfield."
Tonali and Bruno. We've got to play three in the middle to deal with that. That's what he'll do.
I don't think what's name's going to be fit, is he?
Visser.
No, he's not fit. What's the other midfield player that got? I like
Joe Linton.
Joe Linton. I don't think he's going to be fit. Powerful he is, but I don't think he's going to be fit. So they're not even going to be at their.
I think they'll play that Volta up top, though. I think they'll play that Volta up top because he scored for them the other day. So I think it'll be Gordon, Volta and Alanga as the front three, and then they'll be obviously in the middle. They're playing. They've obviously got Tonali and Bruno who are going to be quality. I think they're two of their best players as it goes. Actually, I think they are the two best players Newcastle have got. But I'm not scared of we shouldn't be scared of Newcastle, but I'm going there not believing it because he literally is obsessed with playing this guy in midfield who I now call Marouane Fellaini because that is what Mourinho is to me. Real talk. He used to play with him under David Moyes and he thinks this is what Mourinho is to us. This is Mourinho. Like, you know what I mean? He's played under David Moyes. He played alongside Marouane Fellaini. This guy is absolutely like obsessed with playing this guy in midfield, man. He thinks he's going to be like, I don't know what he's going to be, but it ain't for me, brother. It ain't for me. What are you saying for the score tonight, bruv? We'll do Newcastle later in the week. What are you saying for the score later?
4-0.
Nice. I'm going to go 3-0. I think we'll be comfortable. It's only because of the opposition and because we've got too much quality. I really want to see Max Dowman. He's the one player I'm looking forward to tonight. I'd be disappointed if he doesn't come on at least start some minutes or get some minutes. And I want to see Waneri. He's another player people are forgetting about at the moment. Because with this Max Dowman kid coming through, people are forgetting how good Ethan is, man. Ethan is a baller, and I want to be seeing him. I've been impressed against Forest and
Ethan as well.
Yeah, I want to see him.
Definitely play today. 100% play today.
Yeah, he's got to play, mate. He's got to play for me. So, yeah. And hopefully, in a weird way, we see Marouane Fellaini play tonight. Because it means he might not play against Newcastle. You might be able to sit in your seat, Judge. You might have to not watch it in a concourse, bruv. Do you know what I mean? You might be able to actually go, oh, he's playing Eze in the middle. Brilliant. I enjoy this. Do you know who I actually think the midfield three will be against Newcastle? I think Odegaard, Rice and Zubimendi will be because he's apparently fit. So I think that's the only way that Mourinho won't play. Otherwise, if he ain't fit, I've accepted Mourinho.
Yeah. I believe if Odegaard's fit, he'll play. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100. All right, sweet. Look, we're going to send you over to halftime. Hooks is with Wolfie at the moment, so go give them some stick for me, please. Big up to everyone that's been here, everyone that's hit like and subscribe. Make sure that you do that now if you haven't done that. I'll be back at 3 o'clock on my channel. Me and Igal are going live because he's got different opinions to me. He actually rung me up, chat, to tell me I was out of order because I called Arteta a wimp. He's one of the cults, as we call it, bless him. But, you know, it is what it is. Lee, I'll let you have the last word, mate, and say goodbye.
Listen, sun shining. Enjoy tonight. A little bit of pressure off of the Arsenal tonight. Let's hope they win. And let's hope everybody going up to Port Vale today, don't drive with the handbrake on.